Hi, this is Tim Sanders, founder of the Omnia Radiation Balancer. Pretty soon there will be 5G masks going up all around us, and we want to make sure that you're giving yourself the best protection on the market. Our solution is unique. We use a new source of energy from the fifth dimension to balance radiation fields on any device, making it safe to use. Our results show that this structures water, it balances the blood, and it keeps your body super strong. And yes, it works on 5G. The energy in the patch never runs out, so count up all the radiating devices in your life, stick one on each, and you're done. Click on the link below and you'll soon be bringing balance and strength back to your body. Thank you.
Hey guys, what's up? You're listening to Journey to Truth podcast. I don't feel like I need to say that anymore. We
say it every time.
We have Miesha Johnston back on by popular demand. So we interviewed her for the Portal to Ascension conference, and I need to turn my phone down. And we it was so short. We were on a time crunch, and you got to do your PowerPoint, and then we got to the end of it. We didn't get to any questions, but almost every comment in the video was like, you need to have her back on. You need to have her back on. We need more. So that's what we're doing right now. And if you guys don't know Miesha, she's, I guess, what you call yourself a second generational experiencer. You're a hypnotherapist. You're author of Covert Abduction, and you have two amazing Oracle decks, ET Experiencer Oracle decks, which I have one here. The first one, anyway.
You have the first one. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah. Welcome back. We're excited to get into this and see what we're going to get into tonight. We have questions from the first interview that we never even got to. So, how's it going? What's new?
Well, thank you. Well, my groups, I facilitate support groups for people on the Zoom internet right here on Zoom. I do 3 a week, and I do everything from ET experiences to starseed people just waking up. I do MILAB and MK-Ultra. I do secret space programs, super soldier groups. I do I just finished with an SRA and trafficking and Monarch group. I have a target individual group, a reptilian experiencer group, a galactic light language, and a hybrid group. I think that names them all. So I have these groups that I have 3 times a week. They're 3-hour groups. And so there's always something going on. I'm working with people, I specialize in trauma release hypnosis therapy and working with people in finding their galactic planets of origin and things. So that's about new. That's about what's new here. It's always active.
That's a lot to keep up with.
Yes. No. And a radio show. Yes.
Where can people find that radio show?
It is on kcwaradio.com. And my show is every Saturday from 12 to 2 Pacific Standard Time. And I bring on guests, a lot of guests about everything from all of the ET experiences to MK-Ultra and MILAB, Secret Space Program, and Target Individual, all of that. So we could pass some guests back and forth if you want to.
Yeah, I'd love to share some of my experience. I'd love to share just some of my experiences with you sometime.
Great.
Yeah.
I'd love that. Yeah, come to the group and, probably be on the radio show too.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk. So last time you did your PowerPoint, you went in, I guess it was like a briefing of your life story and all the ET races and your involvement in the MK-Ultra. You were kind of born into an MK-Ultra family, right? That was kind of based on all the trauma-based mind control. And you were explaining how that was. And I know that you experienced some missing time. There's 2 periods of missing time in your life. Mm-hmm. I don't really remember exactly what you covered, but it was fascinating. So I don't know if you want to just briefly, this started when you were age 3, right?
Yes.
Age 3. Yeah. So you can briefly touch on that. If there's anything relevant or anything new that you would rather get into, let's do that. because people can go back and watch the other one.
Okay, well, well, just to give them a little synopsis of my life. It started when I was 3 years old. My mind control programming. And my father was my handler. He was the one who did the mind control, trauma-based mind control, and torture. And in fact, briefly, I'll just say that he said there was other times that things went on, but this one particular time he says, he was causing me a lot of sexual torture. And he said, you have to be able to withstand this pain, because greater pain you will endure in your life. So you need to learn how to go away, is what he said. And go away, to me, of course, and now I've found out, of course, go away means to split your psyche so that your alters will allow the alters to come through. And that's what they do in a mind control program, is they split your psyche so that you start splitting off into alters that are born when they start programming you. So they split you off, then they take with psychotronic, with electric shock and other desensitization, other isolation, just plain right torture, water tortures, everything like that. All of those things are to solidify the alter now. And so they make alters, and every time they make an alter, that alter has a program that alter does. So I have one alter that is the one who was in the beta program, and the beta is the sex slave or honeypots or the pedophile and all of these different things. In fact, at 9 years old, I was put into what they call service for that. So once they have decided they've got an alter, now they program that alter to do whatever they want. So in that case, Darlene, who was born at 3 years, 3 years old, she was, I was born at 3, but the alter was born, excuse me. She was born 3 years old. When I was 3 years old. Okay. So I don't care if people know my age. She was born in 1952. I was born in 49. So in 1952, she came into existence as that first alter, and that alter was to go be to all that. Then there was another alter. That alter was more of a delta or omega alter, an alter to handle, to go through the tortures. Okay, I'm having a little hard time with this. All right, it was the alter that did the killing. Okay. And it started as a child, and the first memory I have is of about 5-6 year old, and I'm standing over a baby with a knife. So they force you to do these things like that in the altars. Okay, so those are flashes that you have. So I don't know to what degree and that happened. Then I have a male alter, and then I have a child alter. So those are the things they do. They have to do that in order to split you so that they can mind control you. And that's the whole purpose for that. My father was also mind controlled from a very young age and tortured as well. He always thought of his memories of being tortured by his father, but indeed, his brother also was tortured, and his brother became a cult leader in the, I don't want to get the wrong date, but I think it was like the 50s or 60s or something like that. He was a cult leader in California. So they all have, so that was his program, was to be the cult leader. And so my father's program was to be the magician, and he was in the Rosicrucians, which was a black magician and alchemy that they work with. Rosicrucians is actually Masons is a spinoff from Rosicrucians. Mm-hmm. So that was part of his programming, and his altars were programmed. I saw many altars from my father growing up and just thought that he was crazy. I just thought it was schizo. And so did the siblings. So, that just kind of gives you an understanding. Now, at the same time that was happening, I was having ET experiences, and they were positive experiences. In fact, they were the only thing that kept me sane as far as I'm concerned. And so that went on throughout my life as well. So, I mean, just to give people a little idea of what I was talking about.
So these experiences were tangible, or were they like a dream state, astral experience, or did you have physical memory of being on a craft with ETs? I mean, I know you covered a lot of that before, but
physical experiences. My first experience was with these little fuzzy guys that were same size as me. I was 3. I saw them I heard them for several nights, like they made these little squeaky noises. And so I investigated it one night at 3 years old and found them underneath the staircase. And they looked like little fuzzy guys in robes. And when I grew up and went to Star Wars and saw the Ewoks, that's the closest thing I can say that they look like, is the Ewoks. So they were with me not that long, maybe a couple of years, I remember. And I remember them teaching me different kinds of abilities. I remember flying over the telekinesis as well. And I remember flying over my tops roofs of my house at 3 years old. And I guess was on the way up to the ship, but I do not remember the ship. So I can't tell you for sure if I did go to a ship with that case. And then I had a willowy one that was with me my whole life, all the way through my hybrid programs that I was a part of. And then within that time, I had a hybrid and a kind of a hybrid reptilian type. I mean, it was more like a gray being, but it had very coarse alligator skin. And then I also had an interaction with another reptilian group. And now all of these ETs were very positive experiences. I to this day, don't really have any negative experiences that I have come up with and remembered. And on board the ship too.
You mentioned you were part of a MILAB program, correct? And you spent time in some of these DUMBs, these deep underground military bases, which were primarily controlled by the Greys and Reptilians. So that, I mean, that doesn't sound positive.
They were not the ETs that I'm talking about. Okay. They were the MILAB situation. So the MILAB situation started first by a Greys taking me, and it was a different Grey. These Greys were more of they were shorter. They were more like a darker Grey, and they would take me on down in the underground bases, or it would be a reptilian would take me into a DUMB, or it would also be military that would take me into a DUMB, or I would go to sleep and wake up in a DUMB. So there was different ways that I was taken into the DUMBs. And in the DUMBs, I interacted with, because I interfaced, part of my, let's say, childhood experiences were classes where I would see language on these screens, and then I would also see, hear languages and stuff. So I became an interfacer. So I communicated with the ET. So that was one of the things they taught me to do very young age and on. And so I think the government realized it right away, or factions of the shadow government realized that right away. And that's why they took me to interface with ETs some of the time. I was interfacing with ETs, and including reptilians. So I had reptilian, a reptoid, and a draconian that I would consider definitely a draconian. And then I saw a small little raptor looking one. He was much smaller than any of the reptilians. It was like, it could have been a child, I'm not sure. And at the same time, I saw the tall gray beige ones in the underground bases, and humans, of course, in uniform.
Yeah, I forgot what... who is it talks about the raptor beings a lot? I can't think of his name. Richards, maybe? I don't know.
John Rhodes talks about raptors.
But do you know who I'm talking about?
What's his name? Mark Richards?
Yeah, maybe Mark Richards.
Bastards. Oh, of course. Yes, yes. Yeah, he talks about the agreements that have been made, the treaties that are made with some of the different types of ETs, including the raptors.
So in these bases, do you have any reference point to know where you might have been underground, under what part of the world, even how deep, what military base? Do you know any of that?
Mm-hmm. I do, actually. I know it absolutely 2 and maybe 3. But let's go with the first one was here in Las Vegas, Nevada. It would have been Area 51 or S4, Creech Air Force Base. I'm not sure which and where I was taken. I don't think it was the tall whites. I didn't ever see the tall whites, so I don't think. So it must have been Area 51. And I will tell you that during an experience, I going up an elevator, and I could see people around me only as far as the people in front, because you can't bend your head, you can't turn your head. You're under some kind of a drug, and I would say it was probably ketamine or scopolamine. And then when the elevator, and there was a soldier right there at the elevator door, and when the elevators opened, they shuffled us out, and they shuffled, and we were all, the people I could see were all humans. And they shuffled part of us over to where there was 2 tall grays, only they're beige gray, and they're like tall. They're like 6 feet tall. And then the other side had men in lab coats and uniforms. So as they were shuffling off, I saw that there was a group, and I was able to glance over there, and I saw my 13-year-old son. And so that's one experience. The other times I was in an experience where I was definitely in what I would consider had to be a level 6 or below. My understanding is, the top levels are experimental, maybe back engineering, things like that. And then you've got another level that gets into the informational kind of things, and they'll do just about anything for that information, like as in, maybe even torture people to get it. Then another level seems to be like the Greys are in charge. This particular level I was in, I would say it had to be lower than that, maybe 5th or 6th, because I saw no Greys there. I only saw reptilians, and I woke up after going to bed. I woke up walking down a hallway. On this side, it was definitely just like gray buildings with windows, not buildings, but gray offices with windows. But this side had the shiny black wall, so I knew I was underground for sure, and rather deep too. So as I was walking, people were passing me in lab coats and military uniforms, and they would look at me, and they'd look up and down, and they looked at me, but they would never look at the reptilian that was next to me. And I knew there was a reptilian next to me. And I said to him telepathically, why they're looking at me? Why are these people in passing looking at me? And why don't they look at you? And he said back this very strong, very, very powerful psychic message, or a telepathic message, that they know better. They must honor us. And along with that, he showed me visions. So ETs do a lot of communications through visions as well. So they showed me a vision of other people, like 2 guys in uniforms, actually, who must have looked at them, because one was screaming and like he was crazy and he was being dragged off. Another guy was being taken off because he looked at the reptilian. The other guy looked at his eyes. The other guy looked at him. They're not allowed to look at him. So that was the one in control. I don't know how many levels down, but I would assume, it's at least, 5, 6, 7, 8, who knows how many levels down.
Oh yeah, that corroborates with so many other testimonies out there.
It does.
And there's other people who get into some deeper levels than that. I mean, they talk about even like pterodactyl beings and stuff. It's really
wow, really? I didn't know about that. Pterodactyl.
I don't know. I mean, I don't actually.
And apparently, there's different types of reptilians also, and there's different rankings of them. as well, right? There's
Well,
like,
reptilians are part of the Sakar, which are the bird reptilian. I mean, they started out as birds, and they did genetics and made draconians or reptilians and stuff. So that's why they have the wings, because they're
makes
really
sense.
a part of the cars. I mean, the Zakar or Karian races.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense knowing what we know about dinosaurs too.
Mhm.
I mean, basically being bird skeletons. I mean, I don't know.
And apparently the dinosaurs were an experiment of the reptilians. And then that's why, and then they got wiped out.
Either they got wiped out or they wiped out their own experiment.
Or they wiped out their own experiment. Either way.
I've heard both.
I do have a story about that might bring a little light. Anyway, from one reptilian's opinion. I was in a room with a reptilian. He was standing at the door, and I telepathically said to him, because I knew he could understand me and I could understand him. I said, "Why are you invading our planet? What did we do to harm you?" Or no, I didn't say harm you. What did we do to you? And he sent me back a message, and with an imagery that he said, "You are the invaders. We aren't. We've been here long before you." Then he shows me these imagery of all these dinosaurs and all these like pterodactyls and everything's, and all these prehistorics are running and running and running. All these comets are coming down at them. Tons and tons of comets, and are destroying the planet. And he tells me that they're being directed to this planet to destroy this planet. So this is one of maybe the extinction of the dinosaurs. And he said, and then he tells me how the smaller and more intelligent ones went underground. And he said, and we evolved to who you see before you. So that was his story of it. And I got to tell you, when I heard that, I went, well, that's true. They were here before us. And if indeed they did go underground and evolve to this, and they are now working with factions of our government, you can see why our government says, okay, well, yeah, you have the right to be here.
Doesn't Corey Good talk about that? And he says that's what they claim, but it's not actually true, that they were here before us and it's their planet and all that stuff. I've heard Corey Good talk about that multiple times. And he says the benevolent ETs say that's not true. They're basically lying about that so they can take over. So they can say they have the right to the planet.
Yeah, they want. Go ahead.
To enslave us and everything else.
Just said, oh, that's interesting. I'll take that into account for sure.
Yeah, I've definitely heard Corey say that. So I don't know. I haven't done enough research on that, but I've heard Corey say that.
So let's talk about the reality of these reptilians running the planet. And that's what's behind the government. That's what we're seeing take place right now. That's something that doesn't get talked about enough. You know, everybody talks about the cabal and the deep state, but the reality of it is there ETs behind this. Mm-hmm. There's ETs behind this, and there's ETs behind the human trafficking issue, which doesn't stop here. It goes off world. Mm-hmm. And we know this, you know, this is taking place on the moon and Mars and who knows where else. You know, there's who knows how many civilizations are out there, breakaway civilizations and stuff, and where these people are being trafficked to. So what can you add to that? I'm just curious on what your thoughts are and how deep the involvement goes.
Well, I think that right now we have a battle against good and evil. And I do believe that they're in control of the cabal. You know, we have accounts of being shapeshifters and such as that. Knowing the draconians the way I do, they can do the most amazing psychic things to people to either control them, or they can, terrify them to the point where they're going to go ahead and do what they want. I like an experience I had where this draconian, more of a draconian now, and because he had these tough kind of things here, unlike the other ones. He also had a big tail, but I think these were like atrophied wings more than likely. And he telepathically put an image in my mind that my family was murdered in front of me. And if he does that, if they can do that to people, you can understand how maybe some people who don't even want to be under their control end up under their control. Now, there are some, I think, that really are doing it because, as far as they're concerned, that's where their bread is buttered. That's where maybe they know if they go along, they're gonna survive, which is not true. That won't happen. I believe that there are a lot in charge. Yes, I do believe there are a lot in charge. I mean, that's my belief. I don't have any concrete evidence about that other than knowing that when underground bases, and it was a level where there were reptilians of any kind, they were in charge of that level. So I do believe that they are in charge of everything. Yeah.
Used to be, I would say. I think they're being taken out actively now.
I do believe that too. That they've taken out underground bases and such as that. And I do also believe that some of those reptilians are becoming rebels.
Yeah.
That they've.
I've heard many have flipped actually as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why do I have a memory or a vision I always get of it's a reptilian with a trench coat and a hat? Have you ever seen anything like that?
Interesting. No, I haven't, but I have definitely seen them with long robes, sometimes hoods over them and stuff like that. But it could be an answer to what some people say they see the shadow people or the guy in the fedora hat. It could be reptilians. In this case, it could be reptilian.
But the irony of all this is they told you that this was their planet and we're the invaders, right? But the irony of it is that they can't live without us. We are their food supply. Mm-hmm. Without our loosh, especially now that we know they're cut off and they're
Which is why they have to enslave us. Because then it's like, well, even if that's true, that doesn't justify enslaving a whole race on your planet.
No,
but they have to because we're, like you said, we're their food supply.
Well, now they're enslaved too, because it's my understanding that they actually can't leave right now. There's like a security system, I guess, is for lack of a better term, solar warden type of program that they actually can't leave. Even, and there's some of them that still think they're actually. What did I hear recently? They're trying to dig up an ancient Stargate somewhere in like Israel or something right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
They're thinking that this is going to be their escape and they're going to be able to get off, but there's no way. Like they're already onto it, so
they're quarantined.
They're basically quarantined onto the planet. So they're trying to get off.
I'm learning things from you today.
How about that?
Yeah.
But it makes sense. And, I'm going to have to rethink this whole thing about whether or not were here before us. I don't know. I mean, I know the dinosaurs were here before us.
Yeah. Obviously.
For our family, the genetic family that actually came in, which we are part of that genetics. If not, then, and like you said, the Anunnaki or whoever made the dinosaurs and all of that, they made that. Then in that case, our genetic line was here before them.
Well, I mean, there's been I guess ancient civilizations for 400 million years on this planet, and so who's to say whose planet it really is at that point? What actually happened all the way back then? And that might be true for modern man, like you said, but what happened before then?
Right. And we are part of that genetics of that. So therefore we have a stake in it. I don't know what we'd call it, but our lineage anyway. Yeah.
So what does disclosure look like to you as far as when do you think we're going to start seeing some of this technology and actually ETs come forward? Are we going to have contact soon? And soon, I mean, within the next 5 years or?
Well, I think it all depends on us. if we can clear up the mess that this world is in, and I should say United States is in right now with the, and I'm just going to give my opinion. My opinion is it's a battle between good and evil, and I believe that the ones who've been controlling, and they just happen to be the Democrats, but that have been controlling everything, and I see mind control. Living through mind control, I absolutely see the pandemic, or I call it the plandemic, as a mind control tool. They're even saying and using mind control words. Isolation. Isolation is one of the number one things they do in mind control for programming. So they've been programming us, and now they had to get Trump out in order to finish their program and get us back in. And then the socialism comes in, and then there's more control and more isolation. And now you can bring in the psychotronic warfare to the people and start programming them that way, because I'm very in tuned with what's going on with the psychotronic warfare and how people are having 24 hours a day being tortured, psychotronic microwave weapons and things like that. In fact, I have a group, if anybody is interested, tomorrow at 3 to 6 on Pacific Standard Time, for people who are targeted. Oh, excuse me, that's not tomorrow. That's next Wednesday. I apologize, next Wednesday. So, yeah, I kind of lost myself there, given my group.
It's okay. You were just you were talking about the mind control, the programming.
You're spot on.
Yeah.
By the way,
spot on, and that's true. And at this point, if you listen to them, they've always been doing it, but now it's even more obvious. They're telling you exactly what they're going to do. They use the term new world order. They talk about, I mean, everything. They're just telling you exactly. If you listen to Obama's last speech the other day, I mean, it's like, okay. People don't actually understand what they're referring to. And, you know, with this election, who knows what's going to happen. I think that I know that Trump is going to stay in office.
Yeah. You notice what they're doing now, though? They're trying to rush them to confirm Biden, because they know they can't wait. Otherwise the fraud's getting exposed, and they're trying to like push everything, like rush it right now to like just rush it in, like just get him confirmed and get Trump out.
Oh yeah,
it's not gonna
work
right now.
Yeah, it's not gonna work. And so the reason I brought that up is because if we do unearth this horrific kind of just the violation of our constitutional rights with our elections, and that they've been fraudulent for so many years and such. If the Trump team and everybody else can bring this out into open, which will indeed cause arrests, including Biden, his cabal group, and all of that, and all these arrests happen, our galactics will come sooner than we think. In my opinion, I think they're waiting for us to do our job, and our job is we made this mess. We have to clean it up. They're not going to come in and rescue us.
They can't do everything for us. Exactly. You nailed it.
And the reason is because on some level, even though we weren't knowing of it, we allowed for this to happen. We gave permission for this to happen. So it is our mess to clean up. And that's why, you know, we're not going to have the ETs come in and save us. We have to figure this out on our own. And this is also us stepping into our power and tapping into our true potential and all that stuff. It's a growing experience. We're all evolving. We're all ascending. And this is what it looks like, unfortunately. At the end of any civilization, it's chaotic and there's wars. I mean, if you go back in history, there's wars always ramp up at the end of the civilization. And unfortunately, in the past, you know, there's always the technological side of it and the spiritual side of it. And the technological side basically surpassed because people weren't evolved spiritually enough to, I guess, move on and ascend. So it would collapse, and that kept happening. Well, now it's different. Now there's a spiritual awakening happening on the planet. And that is going to surpass the technological advancement and what we're seeing, because I mean, they're at the end of the road anyway. So now there's hope. And there is a timeline to look forward to.
I think it's so important. Like you're right on. In fact, I got chills when you were talking about it because of confirmation. It's a balance that we have to have of the because yes, if we can bring out all these things, but we don't have the spirituality to go along with it, and maybe this has happened in other parts and other times in our Earth's creation and such, but if the consciousness raising, the people finding themselves. I mean, I got to say, one good thing about the pandemic was that people have come to groups such as mine in droves. It's just amazing how many people have come, and they're looking for answers, and they're waking up, and they go, "I know this is happening. I know it's important for me to do this." And I have this. The truth will set you free, and our planet has to be set free by the truth, and our consciousness has to be up there so that we have a nice balance. Otherwise the ETs won't come, and they come in through all of the people like wonderful people in your age group and that are coming into the planet now. I truly feel that they have a purpose to come in here. You have a purpose, and it's like the different waves that Dolores Cannon says. There's another wave, in my opinion, which is the younger ones, and those ones will be in place at some place in near future in places of great importance and power. So, or they maybe already are. It might be, the last 20 years, so 30 years, who knows? But it's a wonderful thing that's happening actually in a lot of ways, even though it's got the horrific things. And in my group, people are just in so much fear, but it's my duty to kind of help them try to work through that. And people shouldn't be afraid. People should get stronger and stand in their power and realize that we all have a part of this.
Yeah. And as dark as this all seems right now, this is, in my opinion, the catalyst that the planet needed. This is the catalyst that we all needed to really even see what's going on. Everything's coming to the surface now. If that didn't happen, so many people are like, well, if the Patriots were in control, why didn't they stop this pandemic? Why didn't they stop this virus? Maybe they know more than we think, and they had to let it happen, and they saw it play out already. Mm-hmm. And because now it's becoming very apparent what it's caused, what it's forcing to the surface is it's horrible but beautiful at the same time.
People have, like you said, people have to be shown. You can't just tell them. They could have cleaned all this up if they wanted to, in my opinion. They could have done it all behind the scenes and then come out and say, hey, there was this massive cult that was running things and doing all these crazy things, but we already took care of, most people are going to be like, what? That's crazy. They're not going to believe it. Even if they do show proof and stuff, it's much more powerful for people to be shown like what people are witnessing now. They're seeing the corruption. They're seeing everything being exposed. More and more people are waking up. It's actually waking up people. Mm-hmm. And it's causing people to have spiritual awakenings also. And it's basically what's happening right now is the whole planet is having a dark night of the soul. Mm-hmm. So, and that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing, because what that is the shadow of the planet, and all these lies and all these things that have been hidden, suppressed for so long are coming to the surface on the outer and within everyone also. And that needs to happen so it can come up to be cleared. The energies right now are bringing up everything to be seen, acknowledged, and cleared. So. Absolutely.
I agree with that. The clearing is an extremely important part of it. Extremely important. What's that?
Oh, we have new mics, and I'm telling him, don't forget, because we need to talk into it, and he's in front of it. We have to.
Oh, okay.
Set up. Yeah, nothing to do with you. Sorry.
Still getting used to this.
Yeah. So that is so extremely important, that the clearing, because that's why people are coming to myself and many other workers, healers, therapists for clearing. They're coming to heal these things and clear them away. We cannot take them into the next dimension. There's no place for this fear and hate and judgments, and part of our healing has to be, we have to forgive ourselves and others, and heal.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what's interesting, you said about, you think there's another wave of these children coming forward. And I agree. The star seeds, the indigo children, whatever you want to call them. If you spend, if hybrids, yeah.
Yes.
If you spend any time around these children, I mean, they're sent here to teach us at this point. It's almost like they're not here to learn anything. I mean, some of these are like, I call them mini ascended masters, because it's just unbelievable. A lot of them are coming with memories of their past lives, and just so many things, and this wisdom that can't even be taught in their young age. Their memory is just incredible. And it's like they're already being born with these talents. It's really interesting to see.
It is amazing. I happen to be lucky to have a couple of them in my family, to have the hybrids, and I mean, there's no doubt about it. They're just unique individuals with these very wise souls. They have a reasoning power. They can reason things that children really shouldn't even know about it, but they can reason them out and figure them out. And these are usually things that have a emotional energy to them, and the kids are really amazing. So, and then we got your generation. Now, it's interesting. I have to ask you, I don't know how old you fellows are, but I know there's the millennial group.
We're millennials. Yeah.
Millennials. Okay. I thought you would be, but millennials have been really targeted bad. And I'm going to sound like a broken record here, with the video games and the desensitization with the video games and all of the computers and everything like that. And then in college, they're programming in the socialism and all these things. And I see a really big, how would I put it, a divide between, you've got millennials that are consciousness, their consciousness is raised, and then you've got millennials that are just totally confused and completely believe in the whole mind control. They've been mind controlled in college, actually, I think, and through the games.
Yeah, exactly.
There is a divide, and it's funny because we do fall into the category of millennials, but I don't feel like a millennial. Like,
you aren't.
We're on we're older millennials.
I don't feel like the stereotype that everybody views. Obviously we're all, it comes down to the individual, and it's not really fair to blanket everybody under that term, but I do see the divide that you're talking about, and it's very apparent. Yeah. I think we all have certain missions. As soon as I was done with high school, I knew school was bullshit the whole time. And I was done as soon as I got out of high school. There was no way I was giving my time back. I couldn't do my homework. I told my teachers, I was like, I just gave you my entire day, and you want me to go home and give you my I'm not doing it. I just like,
nice.
It was just, I just never fit in as far as that went. So I'm glad.
I have a starseed list that you just mentioned, about 3 of the things on it. That's very interesting. Yeah, the characteristics of starseed.
So there's an actual list that I'd be curious to see that.
Yeah, I've made lots of lists because of all my groups. I've been doing these groups since 1990, but now online 7 years. And so I have a group for everything, including just for starseeds, just for starseed hybrids. And then, of course, ET experiencers and MILAB experiencers and secret space. So I have many lists. So I'll send it to you.
So I'm actually looking at, thank you. Please do that. I'm actually looking at one of the questions that was asked during the first time. And it is a good question. Somebody wanted to know, how do you differentiate between negative and positive hybrid programs?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Because I know there is a negative program.
Well, again, to me, it goes back to, if I see humanoid that really, to me, looks like a human, as in a human type, earthling human. In my experience, then I feel that is definitely not one of the positive experiences of hybrid. I also go by, for my experience, I've been shown like 17 kids of different races, on different colors of races, different animal kind of heads and human bodies, right? And I went by the feeling that I got from them. If I got this, and hybrid children have the most unconditionally loving energy from them. And that's what I go by. Now, I know a lot of other, even my own experiences that I've, during the missing time, it's come up now for me because I did another regression. It's come up for me that I had a baby during that time. Had a memory of it, flash on it. So then I decided to get a regression on it and found out that I did. So that baby never went with me. So it went into, so it would be part of the negative hybrid program. I don't know if there were ETs involved in it at all. I have no idea. But I just think that if there's humanoid experimentation in the hybrid program, then it's a very negative one. And you also have to just go on your gut, on what you feel. Mm-hmm. And I feel that the experiences that I had in my hybrid programs, even with the reptilian experience that I had, that when I was shown a hybrid reptilian child, and I asked who's the father, and they said, well, you call him Ayano, who is my protector, who was sent to me by my council to protect me, and the all meaning many different races and such. So I hope that answers that question, because I don't know 100% about all of my experiences, but to me, that's what I feel.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people think that the hybrid program is an infringement of our free will. So that's what's interesting to me, because I'm positive. I mean, some of the experiences I've had, there's no doubt in my mind that I have hybrid children, and I know some of them have some of them have happened on a negative account. It's been a negative experience, and one in particular I think is a very benevolent experience. So it's just interesting to me. I've always wondered, like who gives them permission to come in and do whatever they're doing to I don't even know where I'm going with that, but you know what I'm saying.
We agreed to be in any kind of hybrid program, that I believe that we agreed to be in any kind of hybrid program that you were in. Like my my memories of the raptor, I told you, little raptor, I think it was a child, and I would think it was a hybrid situation there. But I agreed to it before I came on this planet. Now, we don't get the whole particulars of it, but I think what we're told is, or shown is, okay, so you're going to be doing this and this, and we think, oh, well, I am a light being, I'm powerful, I can handle it. But then it gets, sometimes it gets really scary and stuff. But even maybe the negative one, I still agreed to work with the negative groups before. And that's why my galactics helped me cancel those contracts.
Yeah, that's really interesting. The whole concept of the contracts is also interesting, because sometimes they don't seem like they're that good of a deal.
No.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. Well, it's like, when I was standing in front of the council, and I had gotten to a point where this was right after, I'd had 3 automobile accidents. I'd been run off the road by a white unmarked van. I'd been hit and definitely on purpose, and made my car spin around. I'd been had a bright light shined on my car while I was driving with Melinda, my partner that I was writing the books with, and also speaking at engagements with. And it came out of nowhere, and it was a bright light, and it was either crash over the mountain or crash into the mountain. And then I also had the situation with the alien telling me that my family was showing my family killed and chopped up in front of me. So I was going somewhere with this. Now I can't remember. What was your question? Was the agreement. So I had got to a point where I was done. Done. Just take me off this planet. And that's when I had this next encounter where I was in front of a half moon panel of all types of different ETs, everything from an energy being to just a light beings and human beings, reptilian, and even a tall kind of gray. And then one that looked like was just like electric energy. I don't know exactly what it was. And I said, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I want to go home. And they said, well, beloved, do you not remember you asked for this mission and you must complete the mission? I said, but it's so hard. I can't do it. It's so much harder than I thought it would be. And they said, and then they spoke amongst themselves, and then they came back and said, well, we'll help you cancel your contracts. You could, what they said is telepathically, what we can do is help you cancel all your contracts. So I did. I canceled all my contracts. That doesn't mean that I didn't have few more experiences, but the majority of them were gone. I still had ET experiences but I couldn't have physical contacts anymore. I would have astral dreams or astral experience. That also means I still had astral MILAB experiences too, but nothing physical. So I don't think they can take you out of the astral, because I don't know how that works, but yeah. So all my physical things were gone, but not my astral.
That's interesting. Yeah. So, and I know there's people who claim that they can help you cancel your contracts also.
Mm-hmm.
We've actually had Ed Spina. We've had him on our show before. It's fascinating to me. It's a fascinating concept.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. I think everybody, if they're at a point, they should cancel their contracts, or at least cancel the ones they don't want. Be specific, though. Be very specific. I feel slighted because I did cancel my physical contracts. Now I don't have my ETs physically. However, I did still have one materialize in my room, a hybrid child. After that, so it's really hard. I don't exactly know how it works because it's so different there.
It just hit me. So I used to have experiences like all the time. It was so insane. I didn't even know, like, I was going through my awakening. I thought I was like the only one. It was crazy. I lost count. Sometimes I forget about them and I remember, oh yeah, I totally forgot I was doing this night. And then whenever I did that, I with Ed Spina, I called him back and did another session, and I think he did cancel some contracts. And I always wondered why my experiences stopped.
That's probably why.
And I never thought about it. I mean, now they're kind of like astrally. Sometimes stuff happens, but it's not like they used to be. I mean, it was like crazy, like
going on board a ship.
Yeah.
Remembering those things. Yeah, right. I haven't had any onboard ships anymore, and I miss that. Now people who cancel your contracts also say that you can take whatever parts you want and redo it, but I don't know how you do that, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. It's given me a lot to think about now. Yeah, I remember something that used to happen to me a lot, which wasn't a positive thing, but whatever they would do to me, they would, some type of tool, something it's almost like being tased. I would always get tased right here. And I would wait at the end of the experience, they would do something to me. It would lock me up. Like it would literally lock me up like that. And I would wake up in my bed stuck like that. And I had to like pull myself apart. Whatever it did was like, I don't know what it was, but it happened on a number of occasions at the end of whatever they were doing to me. And it was just something that, I don't know, have you heard anything like that?
Well, of course, paralysis always happens when people are waking up, but you had paralysis and you had some kind of a strange thing. So no, I haven't.
No, they would actually like stick something here, and it would make me just like, it would pull my head down, my neck down with it, and I was just stuck there, and I would wake up stuck like that. It wasn't this. I've suffered sleep paralysis for years. It was totally separate from that. Yeah,
Two separate.
yeah.
No, don't know. I'm not sure, but I bet you if you came to group, somebody up there would probably, if you brought it out, they'd go, oh, gee, I remember that, because that's what the whole group is about, is to help people, remember things like where you're getting little pings in your memory today.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's so much. I definitely need to talk with you after this because yeah, maybe that will help me unlock some stuff. I don't know.
All right. Sounds good.
So are you, so you're basically, your experiences have stopped, your physical experiences? Do you still,
Since 2000, nothing physical. In fact, I will tell you that I asked during the meditation, because I didn't have any, and I said to them, you said that you had given me a protector, so I don't even know if I have a protector anymore. And the very next night, I was sitting here in my room, and I have a wood floor, and I heard clunk, clunk, clunk. I'm completely alone in the house, right? Clunk, 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 stopped at the door. And I was really scared at first, but then a peace came over me. And then it happened again. And that time I swung the door open and there was nothing there. And they told me, in fact, not they, actually, it was Ayano. And he said, I'm here. I'm right outside your door. You don't have to be worried anymore. Because I was feeling like I had been left and not protected anymore. So they'll show themselves some way or other. And sometimes they might just show you a ship in the sky and let you know, or they'll give you a dream or something that they're still with you. So I'm sure yours are still with you if you want them.
Oh, I do. The positive. I mean, I've been seeing more ships lately than I ever have. Actually, it's kind of crazy, but it's that might be their way of letting me know. Never thought about.
Yeah, they do. They have different ways to let you know, and that's one of them.
Interesting. Very interesting.
I mean, seeing ships wasn't any really big deal for me because I do Airbnb. I take people out with night vision goggles and see ships. So, that wasn't going to make me get excited. But I'll tell you, that excited me a lot when I heard him walk up to the door and then stop. So whatever it takes for you, they'll show you.
So one more question, and we can start wrapping it up. What do you know about secret space programs? And do you have any memories of being a part of a secret space program?
I do. I fought it for a long time because, just for an example, a lot of us, and with my experience, I felt like I was in a mall or a big, huge warehouse. So these malls and warehouses are kind of screen memories of being on board these ships. I also had a memory of 11 years old being in this clangy kind of, it wasn't ETs around me. I was by myself, and I wasn't by myself. I was with a lot of other kids, but and this would have probably been between that would have been 11 years old. So I was put into service at 9. So it was one of the times, I don't know how they do it. It might have been a 20 and back. I can't tell you 100%. Could have even been a parallel life, but this is the memory I have, that I was 11 years old. I woke up and I was in on this kind of a rack, sleeping plate rack, but it had netting, and not a netting I've ever seen, but something very odd looking and feeling. And then we were taken and shown these pictures of these aliens, and then we had some training. We had different kinds of training, and there was, in between all that stuff, there was torture, and there was more isolations and things like that. So they continue on with the mind control even if they have you up in space. And then I also remember being in a situation where we were kids put in uniforms and and we were shown these things that we should be careful of, and these creatures and stuff, and we were kind of just taken out, and we were walking around, and there was I think probably super soldiers or other soldiers up on the mountains above us, and we drew out these insectoids, and when they saw us, insectoids started coming towards us. Now I remember this happened more than once, because one time I got a bite right out of my gut, and I had to be put in a tank to be regenerated, to be healed. Other times I think we were just kind of used as bait to get them out so that the soldiers could kill them. So that was mainly all I had memory of that experience, other than some sexual horrific things that I don't really want to go into. And then I had another memory where I was, oddly enough, similar to what I'm doing now. I work with people and help people and groups and stuff like that. I was like, well, I'll tell you how I knew about it. I had two regressions. I was doing two regressions from two different people, and they both said to me, "Oh, you were there. You were," and one said, "You were the Nazi lady that was controlling all us kids." Another one said, in a different term, she said, "Oh, you were the one that helped us learn more about how to be super soldiers." So she had a different look completely than he did. But I was part of an organization of more than me, but I would teach these kids how to survive, and I would bring in people to teach them how to survive. And as they grew and got older and older and older, and they had to leave at like 17 or 18 years old and go out to be super soldiers. The powers that be, whoever they were, I think in some way, I think they were Nazis, but I can't tell you where I was, if it was Moon or Mars, but that they were very happy with the way I ran my school, because the kids grew up, went out, became super soldiers, and came back and didn't all die out there. So I felt that it was really important to show a teamwork, learn how to become a team, learn how to care for each other and work with each other and stuff. Whereas the other instructors were teaching them to be super soldiers and just go after and have no camaraderie. And I was teaching it differently. So that was my memory of my two stints in, and I guess they were 20 and backs. I don't know. 10 and backs, 5 and backs, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like that. It definitely sounds like that. And it's interesting to me that you're talking about the Nazis, right? That could have been on the moon or Mars for all we know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I think maybe, well, the first one I think really was probably Mars, but the second one I don't know. I have no idea about the second one.
Yeah, I've heard so many theories about the 20 and back. Sometimes, clones are used. Like that could have been a clone, and it could have been a memory from one of your clones. Mm-hmm. And they have the ability to regenerate any limb or tissue or anything. They can heal anything they want, cure anything they want. But what they can't do is cure your mind. They can't heal your mind. That's where you have to work on that. Mm-hmm. And
I've been told I have clones, and shown I have clones. Where I absolutely know twice that I had clones. In fact, oh my goodness, what's his name? Randy Kramer, Captain Randy Kramer, mm-hmm. Verified it for me with his whoever that is above him, that I do indeed have clones.
Yeah, I believe that. It makes sense. As soon as you started telling your story, that's what I was thinking was mm-hmm. clone. And are you familiar with Tony Rodriguez at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just another secret space program whistleblower. For those of you who don't know, he has an amazing testimony. He has incredible memory recall of everything down to the finest details. It's one of my favorite to listen to. Mm-hmm. But he just had something validated. So he was in 2015, he was basically not interrogated, but he was interviewed by some very skeptical people. Uh-huh. They wanted to know about his experience. And in particular, they were looking for something that they could prove. and he was telling him about this geyser on Ceres where he was stationed, and this geyser that was basically came from salt water that was under the surface, and every so often it would explode and it would rain down and create this like white cap. Well, NASA apparently had record of this, but they didn't know it was salt. So they had looked into it and did some research, and whatever they did, they were able to confirm that it was actually salt, and that he was right about the geyser, where it was and everything. Just this year, they released the article in June or July. They finally released the article about a salt geyser on Ceres, and it totally validated everything that he said. And he said it was such a small thing, but it meant so much to him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because that means the rest of what he believes has some validity of some kind, for sure. I mean, we're all very confused when it talks about the secret space karma. I don't know. I never talked about it ever before until I got like three regressions, and then after the people said to me, "You were there," I said, "Oh crap, I don't believe it." So I guess I'll check. But who knows?
Are you familiar with Barbara Lamb?
Barbara Lamb did some of my regressions. Yes.
Yeah, I've been regressed by her as well.
Yeah.
That's how I found out about one of my hybrid children.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She loves to those hybrid things. So that's how I found out. Oh yes, that's how I found out about my reptilian hybrid was from her. I'd had other memories, but that was when I found out about the reptilian, because she's such a safe place, and wonderful.
She's amazing.
Yeah. We've had her on the show, actually.
Yeah, we've had her on early on. We should reach out again. But yeah, no, I found out about my reptilian hybrid. Actually, I had an experience where I was protecting this little reptilian boy, definitely a hybrid, human reptilian. He had yellow eyes with the slits, but he looked more human. He had like a gray little jumpsuit on, and he was like balled up. He had his knees up, and he was balled up. He was scared to death of something, and I was protecting him from something that I couldn't see, but he could see. So it was really interesting. It was a really interesting experience. It was like, the more I talked about it, the more it came back, but we went back into that experience in my regression, and we were able to figure out it was most likely a hybrid child.
Oh yeah. Wonderful. That's great. That's great.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap this up. We could keep going all night. Thank you for coming on. It's been amazing. Do you want to plug anything? Plug your book, your decks?
Actually, I'd love to plug something. About 3 weeks ago, I came back from let me start over. I got contacted by Prometheus Studios. And so anyway, they asked me to come and do an interview. So I went to California to do the interview, and it was going to be for Book of Secrets. And it was very odd that when they contacted me, what they wanted, I've had lots of people want to, do interviews on me for ET stuff, but they wanted the MK-Ultra because they had looked me up on Google and found me and stuff. So I did an interview on MK-Ultra, which is going to be, I think they said about spring, that it'll come out on the Book of Secrets. So that'll be cool. Of course, I love to tell people about my groups. So please go to starseedawakening.org, my website. And from there, you can go on any of the Facebooks. I'm still with Facebook because I have no choice, but I have many groups. I have Starseed Awakening group that you can go to, Starseed Awakening ET Experiencer group, and then MK-Ultra MILAB Secret Space Program group. So if they go to any of those groups, in those groups, I will have my schedule, and they'll see the events there, so they can find those groups there. I really encourage people to come to support groups. If it's not mine, go to other ones, because it helps. It helps so much. You can't imagine how much it helps. Like, for instance, today's group, the group I did, and after everybody shared, then at the end, I have them answer questions from my characteristic lists and stuff. And people always pick these questions. Well, actually, they go, okay, what number from 1 through 32? Let your higher self guide you to it. And 99% of the time, the people are guided to a specific question that's going to bring out some memory that they never even thought really was important at all. And it changes people's lives. So these groups really do change people's lives. Also, just another plug, just to go to my KCOR radio. I think we already did that one, and to that show on every Saturday from 12 to 2. And I think that's it. They can come and go on my website. I have a book about my MK-Ultra. I have a book about just the MILAB experiences. So I have 2 that I'm working on a 3rd one, but I have 2 biographies about my life. And then I have, I don't have a book here. Yep, I don't have the book here, but I have a book that's all about galactic genealogy to help you find out what your galactic planet of origin is. It is really important. In fact, the Galactics had told me that quite some time ago, that it's important that people find their connection to their galactic families. Now, it doesn't just mean that you are one galactic origin. You are many, 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 many different galactic origins. And my book, gives people characteristics as well. And so they can find out from their family, and with the chart and back, which is a chart that looks like this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then I have another deck of cards, which is called the Unimaginable. And that card deck is all about the MK-Ultra, the Secret Space Program, Super Soldier, and all the other aspects of it, so that people can use these oracle decks to, maybe they have a dream and they can pull the cards out and find out what their experience was. I hope you're using it that way.
Yeah, well, we just used it today. Actually, it's been a while since I pulled it out, but I think I'm going to start incorporating it more now. And I want to get the newer deck you have also.
Yeah, that's unmanageable, and all of those things are there, as well as my if they want to do hypnosis or have a galactic planet of origin and mission reading, they're all available there on my website, starseedawakening.org.
Yeah, you're going to have to send me some links, because that's quite a handful of stuff to remember if somebody's listening to this. So we'll put all the links in the description.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, guys. It was really wonderful talking with you today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same
It's
to
been
you.
great.
Thank you so much for coming on.
I did want to say something else, but I totally forgot what it was. I guess it doesn't matter. So
when it's going to be aired, I don't know.
Oh, well, we'll air this tomorrow night. Yeah.
Night,
so
actually.
At what time?
8 p.m. I'm so used to typing it out. 8 p.m. CST Central.
So it'll be 6 p.m. your time.
Okay. I had some people wanted to know, so I just wanted to have it then.
Yeah, I'll send you the link whenever it's up. We're going to start editing, and we'll have it uploaded, and it'll premiere tomorrow. I'll send it to you, and you send me any information you have also. So.
Okay, so you can delete all that in stuff, that jabber stuff, about the wanting to know when it is and everything, if you want.
Oh, no.
Out. All right, guys. Well, have you already stopped editing, or can I ask something?
Here, we're not.
Okay. I'd like to ask. Okay, Tyler and I'm sorry, Aaron. Oh, yes, Aaron. One of my brother's names. Yeah, I should remember that.
Nice.
Okay. So, Aaron, are you an experiencer?
No, not that I know of, at least.
You're a starseed, though.
What's that? Starseed. Yeah, definitely starseed.
Yeah, starseed. I have a starseed group for you. I have a group for new awakening starseeds as well. So you can. That's kind of a neat group too. And so I'm going to send you guys. What's the best way to send you the information about the groups? I'll invite you to come to the group and everything. What's the best way to do it? On the email?
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're not on Facebook?
I'm on Facebook. He is not.
But we have a Journey to Truth Facebook page too.
We have a Journey to Truth.
To the Truth. Well, that's where I'll send it, if that's all right. I'll send it there as a message on Journey. Can I do that? Can I send it as a message?
Yeah.
Okay. Tyler keeps getting deleted off Facebook, and he finally.
what did you do to get deleted? I've been playing it really careful. I still put all the stuff out, but I put it out like, just in case you want to check this out. I don't like say, this is the truth. I don't know. I don't know how I've been able to stay away from getting kicked out.
First, we both got deleted. And luckily, I already had a backup account that I just had never used. So I just switched over to that.
Mhm.
Tyler made a new account, but then he made another group that was like a Q related kind of group. So that's
Ooh.
probably why. And then he made another one when he came back again and got deleted again. And
Oh.
now he can't, it won't even let him create another account now.
Yeah, I ran out of I've used 4 email addresses and I can't even make up a name or email address anymore. They must have me pinned, you know. They must have
I
me.
think if he uses a VPN, he might be able to get around it, but he hasn't tried.
Oh, that's a shame. I'm sorry to hear that. I joined Parlor, but I haven't figured out how to use it yet.
Twitter, yeah.
Mhm.
It seems like, oh, is that for Twitter?
It's
What?
just
It's like Twitter. It's like an alternative.
Oh, isn't there one that's like Facebook?
MeWe or Mayway, however you say it, is like Facebook. Gab is kind of like Facebook, right?
it seems like Gab is the more popular one.
And then I don't know what else there is.
I'll have to check those out. Yeah, because I don't care much for Parlor. I mean, it's all right. It's like a news station. I'm going, okay.
Fortunate info that came out about who owns Parler.
Oh no, who owns Parlor?
Somebody connected to George Soros, right?
No, that's Newsmax.
Oh, that's Newsmax. What was Parler?
There was
Oh, you're kidding me. Newsmax is somebody owns a connection to George Soros and Newsmax. Oh, that's
George Soros and I don't know
Actually, I think that might have been Parler. I heard something with Parler.
The George Soros thing was a Photoshop. That was not real.
What was the Parler stuff that
they've been donating in the Clinton Foundation for a while. Yeah,
that's what it was. So that's
what is
red flag.
Parler has something to do with connection with the Clinton?
No,
whoever the guy that created Parler, has some kind of connection to the Clintons, or he donates to them.
No, it's Newsmax. The guy who
well, you said George Soros was Newsmax. Was it?
That was a Photoshop. The George Soros link was a Photoshop.
So what's the Parler?
I don't know if there is one.
I've been seeing it all over the place in the last week or so.
Gee, I don't mean to be rude, but I really hope you're wrong about Newsmax, because of any of the places I've been, they're the only one that have been free with the news. Maybe a little on Fox, but Newsmax is, so I hope, hopefully that's just wrong information that they're putting out to make. It could be information to make people stop watching Newsmax because they don't want them to hear the real news, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, it could be. OAN though, I haven't heard anything about them, and they're good too.
And you could be right about Parler. I can see people in the chat right now going crazy, like, no, you get it all wrong.
I swear I've seen so many people being like, Parler's compromised or Parler's it. Like,
it's possible.
I can't remember the details, but I've seen it all over the place.
Well, I hope.
No, there may not be anything to that. It might be.
Well, I'll keep watch on it and stuff. All right. Well, thank you.
We'll go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We will see you next week. Thank you guys for all the donations and everything that's been coming in. It's we can't do this without you, and then we can't say thank you enough. It means everything, obviously. It's what keeps us going right now. So good night, and good night, Miesha. Thanks again for coming on.
Good night.